Imagine having a treasure chest right under your feet, but someone else gets to hold the key. That's how it's felt for many African countries when it comes to their natural resources. Namibia? Well, it just said, not anymore. In a bold twist, Namibia's new president, Nand Ndaitwah, isn't leaving the country's oil and gas game to chance. She's taken the entire industry and placed it right under her own watch. Yep, directly under the president's office. No middlemen. But wait, why would a president do that? Let's back up. In March 2025, something big went down. Namibia's government got a serious makeover. The number of ministries got cut almost in half, from 21 to just 14. Fewer players, tighter control. Some call it clean-up. Others, a power move. Now here's where things get interesting. This isn't just a shuffle of chairs and job titles. It's a signal, a message that says, we're done watching opportunities slip through our fingers. By putting oil and gas under her direct supervision, President Ndaitwah is stepping into the driver's seat of the country's most promising and most volatile industry. But it's not just about pumping fuel, it's about controlling how the engine runs. Less red tape could mean faster decisions. No more passing files from one desk to another. But with so much power in one place, you have to wonder, what happens if things go sideways? Can one office really juggle this much without things slipping through the cracks? Or is this the moment Namibia stops being a resource-rich country with poor outcomes and starts writing a brand new chapter? Namibia just hit the reset button on how its government works. And it's not just about switching up names on office doors. President Nand Ndaitwah has trimmed the fat. She cut down the number of ministries like a chef slicing away everything that slows the kitchen down. The goal? Make the government leaner, faster, and less tangled in red tape. But let's be real. When you shrink the team, everyone left has to do more. Ministers now have bigger jobs, more hats to wear, and tougher choices to make. That kind of pressure could either make things run smoother or cause some serious bottlenecks. Now here's where things get even spicier. Lucia Witbooi is stepping into a major new role, Vice President. This isn't just a big promotion, it's a big deal. She's not only known for her deep roots in politics, but she's also one of the most respected women in leadership. Her rise signals a shift, one that says women's voices are not just being heard, they're helping lead the orchestra. Witboi's style is all about listening and lifting others up. That could change how decisions are made at the very top, especially for folks who felt left out before. But she's not the only one shaking things up. Elijah Ingorara is now Prime Minister, and if you know anything about him, it's this: he knows numbers. With a strong background in business and economics, he's expected to bring some serious strategy to the table. Think of him as the guy who might finally connect Namibia's big ideas to real-world results. Roads, jobs, industries, and more. And then there's Natange Itete. He's taken on a double role, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Mines. If that sounds like a lot, that's because it is. But Itete's no stranger to the world of digging deep, literally. With experience in mining and industrial development, he's stepping in just as Namibia's resources are becoming more valuable than ever. His challenge? Make sure the country can tap into its mineral wealth without wrecking the environment. It's a tough balance, but a necessary one if Namibia wants to grow without burning out. If you are still watching this video, it means you love it. Why not take out a second and hit that like button? Have you done that? Let us move on. Imagine if your house suddenly struck oil in the backyard, and instead of letting different people manage the digging, you decided to take full control yourself. That's kind of what Namibia just did, but on a national level. The government has pulled its most valuable industries, like mining and energy, closer to the top, putting them right under the president's nose. And not just for show. The oil and gas sector, which could turn Namibia into one of Africa's next big economic powerhouses, is now being overseen directly by the president's office. This isn't just a shuffle of desks, it's a major power shift. By tightening the grip on key resources, the country is trying to make faster, smarter decisions. Think of it like steering a massive ship with fewer hands on the wheel. That can help it move more quickly, but only if those hands really know where they're going. Here's where it gets tricky. With fewer people making the big calls, it's easier to stay focused, but it also means a smaller group holds more power. And if that group doesn't listen to everyday people, farmers, workers, small business owners, then decisions might miss the mark. It's like planning a town without asking the people who actually live there. Some Namibians are cheering this change. They see it as a way to cut out the confusion, speed up progress, and finally get things done. Others, they're worried it's all happening too fast, with too few voices at the table. And let's not forget, Namibia isn't making these moves in a vacuum. Global investors are watching every step. They want to know if this new setup will bring stability or cause new problems. And inside the country, people are still waiting for real progress. More jobs, better services, and a plan that doesn't rely on just one or two industries to carry the entire economy. The country's past dependence on things like mining and farming has made it vulnerable to things way beyond its control, like falling prices or droughts. That's why this new direction feels urgent. The pressure's on, both from inside the country and from outside eyes looking in. By merging ministries and handing more responsibility to a few powerful players, the government says it's aiming for a leaner, meaner machine. Analysts are cautiously optimistic. Some say this could ease financial strain and help Namibia run more smoothly. And right at the centre of it all is oil and gas, the game changer. With fresh discoveries and untapped potential, this sector could transform everything from job creation to national revenue. That's why President Ndaitwah decided to stop leaving it to chance. By managing it from her own office, she's signalling that this is the crown jewel of Namibia's economic future, and it's going to be guarded closely. But what does it really mean when the presidency takes direct control of such a powerful sector? Is it about protecting the country's biggest treasure, or is it a sign that too much is being centralised in one place? There's something big happening in Namibia right now, and it's not just politics. It's about oil, gas, and a bold plan to take full control of what could be the country's golden ticket. Let's break it down. Namibia isn't just reshuffling who sits where in government. One of the biggest changes is who gets to call the shots when it comes to oil and gas. And instead of spreading the responsibility around, the president has decided to keep it close, like president's desk close. If that sounds like a power move, that's because it is. This kind of central control isn't brand new. Other countries have done it too, places like Norway and Saudi Arabia. In Norway, the government set up a special oil company that helped turn black gold into long-term wealth for the entire country. They used the money to build schools, hospitals, and even save for the future through a giant national fund. Saudi Arabia? They've got Saudi Aramco, one of the richest companies on the planet. It's helped turn the desert kingdom into a global energy giant. Namibia's thinking is, if they can do it, why can't we? By bringing oil and gas under the president's direct supervision, Namibia is hoping to avoid the chaos and confusion that sometimes comes with too many cooks in the kitchen. The idea is to keep things tight, smart, and focused, so every drop of oil counts. But this move isn't just about dollars and cents, it's also about pride. Namibia's leaders aren't treating oil and gas like just another product to sell. They're seeing it as a national treasure, something that could lift the entire country. President Ndaitwah has been very clear about it. She sees these resources as the key to transforming the country, not just through money, but by opening doors on the world stage and giving Namibia more power in global conversations. Right now, Namibia is heavily dependent on mining and farming, but those industries come with their own risks. If the weather's bad or prices drop, the whole economy feels it. That's why this oil and gas plan is so important. It's a chance to spread out the country's income, build more reliable revenue streams, and strengthen the foundation for future growth. And here's the exciting part. It's not just a dream anymore. In the last few years, Namibia's coastline has revealed something incredible. Huge amounts of oil, just sitting offshore. Billions of barrels. Not only that, but it's right there in the Atlantic, close to major international markets like Europe. The location alone makes it a hotspot. Some experts are saying Namibia's oil fields might end up being some of the most valuable in Africa. If they're right, the country could be sitting on a game changer, something that puts it in the same league as the big players. Over the past few years, something huge has been brewing off the coast of Namibia. Big-name international companies have been spending piles of money, billions actually, digging around in the ocean floor, hoping to hit something big. And guess what? They did. The talk around town now isn't if Namibia will become a major oil player. It's when. The country's sitting on some serious underground riches. We're talking about deep-sea oil fields packed with potential. And the buzz? It's only getting louder. But it's not just the size of the discovery that matters. It's how advanced it is. This isn't the kind of job you can tackle with a shovel and a smile. These oil fields sit deep beneath the ocean's surface, and pulling that oil out requires next-level tech and some serious brainpower. That means Namibia now has a golden opportunity, not just to make money, but to grow talent. Imagine young Namibians learning how to operate high-tech rigs, run massive offshore platforms, and build careers in one of the most competitive industries in the world. With the right investment in training and education, Namibia could be home to Africa's next generation of energy experts. So with all this oil coming into play, the country had to make a big decision. Who's going to be in charge? Instead of leaving it to different departments, Namibia's leaders chose to move the entire oil and gas portfolio straight into the president's office. That's right, top-level central control. Why? Because when you're dealing with something this valuable, you want to make sure it's handled carefully and, more importantly, fairly. The thinking is, keep things streamlined, avoid messy bureaucracy, and stop private interests or outsiders from walking away with all the profits. In theory, this setup could help the country stay on track. It means all the big oil decisions line up with the big picture, Namibia's national goals, not just corporate wish lists. But not everyone's popping champagne. There's a flip side to putting so much power in one place. When only a few people are calling the shots, it can be easy for things to get murky. Decisions might be made behind closed doors. And if there's no strong system to check what's going on, problems like favouritism, or worse, corruption, could creep in. That's one of the big worries some folks have. With oil being such a powerful force, will decisions really be made for the people? Or will the spotlight shine only on the political heavyweights? And what about Namibia's relationships with the rest of the world? Foreign oil companies, neighbouring countries, and global investors are all watching closely. Some may cheer the move, thinking, finally, a clear direction. Others might worry that tighter control could make deals harder to strike or profits harder to share. No one's quite sure how it'll play out yet. But what's clear is this: Namibia is trying to take the wheel on its economic future. In Namibia, big things are shifting, not just in politics, but in how the country plans to handle its growing oil and gas fortune. It's one thing to find oil. It's another thing to make sure it actually helps the people, not just a few powerful folks or companies. That's the lesson other countries in Africa have had to learn the hard way. You can dig up all the oil in the world, but if you don't manage the money wisely, you'll end up with big profits and even bigger problems. Namibia's new president, Dr. Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, just stepped into office and wasted no time shaking things up. With a brand new cabinet and a tighter grip on key sectors, she's sending a clear message. It's time to take control of our future. One of her biggest moves? Pulling the oil and gas sector directly under her leadership. No more layers of bureaucracy. No more delays. If there's oil to be managed, it's going to happen from the top, her office. This change comes just as international oil companies are buzzing about Namibia's offshore discoveries. Billions of dollars have already been poured into exploration, and the results are promising. If things go right, Namibia could become a major oil exporter in Africa. But that kind of success doesn't just come from striking oil. It depends on what you do with it. At the same time, the president made other big moves to realign the way government works. Fisheries and marine life now fall under the Agriculture Ministry to better protect resources. Industrialisation, that's now part of the Mining and Energy Ministry, aiming to tie natural resources more closely to building new industries. And support for marginalised groups, including people with disabilities, is being brought straight to the Prime Minister's office to make sure no one falls through the cracks. But behind all these headlines, one change is stirring the most attention: the exit of Tom Alwindo, Namibia's long-serving Minister of Mines and Energy. For nearly 7 years, he played a big role in developing Namibia's energy potential. He helped bring in foreign investors, and under his watch, Namibia's oil exploration took off. But not everything was smooth sailing. While Alwindo was known for being steady and cautious, critics felt he wasn't moving fast enough. There were big discoveries, but actual results, the kind people can feel in their pockets, were slower to come. Some said he played it too safe. Others pointed out that Namibia needs bold, forward-thinking leadership if it wants to compete with the heavyweights in the global energy game. That's where Ntanga Itet comes in. The new Deputy Prime Minister, and now the man in charge of mines and energy, has a different style. He's seen as smart, strategic, and not afraid to make big moves. His background in mining is solid, but what really stands out is his focus on using resources to power up other parts of the economy: jobs, factories, training, infrastructure. That's the kind of energy strategy he's expected to push, and he's not stepping in alone. In a formal swearing-in ceremony at State House, a fresh team was introduced to the nation: John Mutaroa as the new Deputy Prime Minister, Peya Mushalenga in charge of international relations, and Emma Theophilus heading information and communication tech, along with her deputy, Modestus Amuse. A new generation of leadership is in the room, and they've got a lot on their plate. When Ntanga Itete was handed the keys to Namibia's powerful new ministry, it wasn't just a job promotion. It was a sign that the country was ready to do things differently. See, Itete's no stranger to the world of natural resources. He spent years in the mining sector, learning all the ins and outs of how to manage what's under the ground, and more importantly, how to make it work for the people above it. That kind of experience is rare, and now he's expected to bring that same hands-on, practical mindset to Namibia's growing oil and gas industry. But here's what really sets him apart. He's not just thinking about drilling holes and shipping barrels. Itet's thinking big. He's focused on turning Namibia into more than just a place where raw materials are pulled out and shipped off. He wants to build things, train people, create jobs, launch factories, grow industries. His goal is to build a homegrown energy economy, not just depend on foreign companies to come in, dig and leave. That's where things start to get interesting. Namibia just merged two powerful ministries, mines and energy, with industrialization and trade. What does that mean? It means everything from digging up resources to turning them into finished products now falls under one roof. And Itet's running the show. This is about more than just oil. It's about long-term planning. It's about building the kind of country where the oil doesn't just bring in cash, it creates lasting change. Schools, roads, jobs, skills, a future. But here's the thing, it's not going to be easy. Many African countries have faced the same situation before: huge discoveries, big dreams. But somewhere along the way, the money got lost, the environment suffered, and the people were left behind. That's the trap Namibia is trying to avoid. Itet's challenge is to make sure Namibia doesn't become just another resource-rich country with poor outcomes. He has to find a way to turn all that oil into progress that sticks, something that lifts everyone, not just a select few. And let's talk about power for a second. With more control sitting in one place, his office, the risk is real. If decisions get made behind closed doors or without proper checks, it opens the door to pressure, favoritism, or even corruption. That's the danger of centralizing too much authority. So the real test isn't just how much oil Namibia can pump, it's how transparent and fair the whole system will be. Can the government stay honest? Will everyday Namibians actually see the benefits? And with all eyes on Namibia, the bigger question is starting to echo across the continent. Is Africa finally stepping up to take full control of its own resources? Could this be the beginning of a new chapter where African countries stop being just suppliers and start being decision makers on the global stage? What do you think? Let's hear it in the comments.